Hello everyone. I'm just going to do a short little video here showing how I plan on finishing up my Evergreen Mystery Sew Along quilt that Fat Quarter Shop did. They released it last week and all you need to do is add a little 2-inch border around the outer edges and then do a piece background if you use a layer cake or if you want to. I'm not planning on doing that because I went with a Fat Quarter bundle instead of a layer cake. So I'm just going to open up my project box here and use from the leftover fabrics that I have. I'm just going to obviously use my background fabric for my borders, and then I'm probably going to try to do a scrappy binding using these back quarter bundles. Honestly, I don't even want to finish this quilt. I regret my fabric choices so much, but whatever. My niece loves it, so I'll make it for her. So I just cut my strips here and I'm just going to sew them on. I did clip them onto my quilt top just at the beginning there, just so that I had something to start off with. And then after that, I'm just going to line it up. And I am doing it with the wrong side of the quilt top facing me. That way I can watch all of my seams and make sure that they are going to be laying in the direction that I press them and I don't accidentally get them flipped. And as you can see, I didn't cut my strips to size. I'm just sewing it on there and I will trim it up after. And the way I do that is I just lay it all nice and flat on my table and I use my little 6.5-inch ruler here. And I just line up my ruler with the edge of the bottom of the quilt and the edge of the side of my border here, and then that way I know it'll be nice and square, and I just take my rotary cutter and just cut it off. And if you're interested in this pattern, I do have all of the links in the description box below, along with all the tools that I use. Those little project boxes that I got on Amazon are so worth a buy, and I'm definitely getting more. And then here you can see it's all done with my little border. Pat Sloan did have alternate border options, so if you check out her video, I'll leave a link to that in the description box below. I really liked her border options, but I just didn't want to put that much effort into it. And it's kind of where I got the idea for my scrappy binding here. So I'm just going to take two of my lighter ones and then two of my reds, and I'm just going to cut some strips and see if I can make the scrappy binding look somewhat decent. And here you can see I cut random strips. I didn't want to make it too exact because I figured at my join there it might look weird if it was a little bit different than the rest of the sizes. So I just kind of have my own little system here, and I'm going to be chain stitching this together, taking a red and then one of my lighter colors and pushing it through. And I'm just going to keep doing this until I have enough to go around my quilt. Once I've done that, I'm going to take it over to the ironing board and I'm going to be pressing all my seams open. And I kind of wish I would have sewn these together on the diagonal. I think that would have given it a little bit more flair, but I didn't, and I didn't want to redo it, so whatever. Once I've pressed those seams all open, I'm just going to fold my binding in half and give it a good press. And as you can see, some of my strips are much longer than the other ones. I should have probably done a little bit more variation than I did. Some of it did end up looking too much like I tried to make it even. Like I said, at this point, I just want to get this thing done. My niece is loving it, and as long as she's happy, I'm happy. So I can't wait to give it to her once it's done. And unfortunately, with it being gardening season and canning season, I didn't have time to get this finished, but I will get to it as soon as I can. But I did kind of pin my binding on there to give you an idea of what it's going to look like once it's all together. And I did decide to share this video on my channel because I wanted to let you know that sometimes you're not going to like what you made, and that's okay. You can choose to throw it out or continue finishing it and maybe giving it to someone who will enjoy it. Thank you for stopping by, and until next time.